and welcome back to Cooking with Ms Zuba. So today I'm going to be making pasta fagioli, or many of you know as pasta fagioli. So it's one of my comfort foods and I make this often, and I love to make this and share the recipe with family and friends. So I'm gonna give you an idea of the ingredients, what's going in there. I have sauce, and I like to use the crushed tomato with basil, and you can see it's Nature's Promise. And I also use the elbow pasta, and I use vegetable broth. Now, when my mom always made it, she would put water in it, and it was delicious. But I found out by using vegetable broth gives it a little bit more flavor. And I do use a lot of Nature's Promise products because, one, they're organic, and two, they're very reasonably priced compared to other organic products. So I do use a lot of Nature's Promise products. All right, now over here I have my other ingredients. I have some chopped up onions. It's about a third of a cup, half a cup, and celery. And what I like to use with celery is the inner part where you have the nice thin sweet stalks and some of the greens, and oregano. So we're gonna head over right here to my stove, and we're gonna get started. I'm gonna start with the pot here, and I'm gonna add some olive oil. There's a few drizzles in there. And then I'm going to add my onions and celery. And that's going to start sizzling soon, and we're going to saute that. So you want to saute until your onions are translucent. Okay, now my onions are cooked, the celery is nice and soft and cooked. I'm going to add my sauce. And now I'm going to add my vegetable broth. Usually what I do is I filled a can up, and so this way it's like 1 can of sauce and 1 can of broth. And then I take a look at it and see if I need to add more broth or not. Because remember, this is not a sauce, it's more like a soup. So you don't want it thick, you want it loose. Okay. That looks pretty good. I'm going to add a little bit more broth to it. That's good. And now I'm going to add my oregano. It's about a tablespoon. You can add more if you like, or less. Okay. All right, now I'm going to add some salt. Usually about a teaspoonful. You can always add more if you like more. It's always better to start out with a little bit, and about a half a teaspoon of pepper. And now you're just gonna let this simmer for about, I usually go for about 10-15 minutes, then I add my beans. Okay, so my sauce looks good. And now I'm gonna add my beans. Now you can buy a can of cannellini beans or whatever beans you like. I like to cook my own beans, so I get some dry beans and I cook them down, and then I package them up and put them in the freezer. And whenever I need them, I just take them out. So these are actually navy beans that I cooked down. So I'm gonna add these to my sauce. And just stir it around. And I'm gonna let it cook for about another 5 minutes. And while that's cooking for another 5 minutes, I'm gonna get my pasta into my water here. That's been boiling. And make sure you salt your water first. And once you get it in there, start stirring it around so it doesn't stick to the bottom. And when you're cooking your pasta, follow the instructions on the back of your box. Now it usually says anywhere from 8 to 10 minutes or maybe 10 to 12 minutes depending on the pasta. Now I like to cook my pasta al dente, which means to the tooth and a little bit of a bite to it. I don't like to overcook my pasta, but you need to cook it to the way you like it. When you're making pasta fagioli, it's best to cook it al dente because when it sits in the hot sauce with the beans, the pasta is going to absorb the liquid that's in there, so it's going to cook a little bit more. So I'm going to let this cook al dente. The package said about 10 minutes, so I'm going to keep an eye on it until it's cooked to the consistency that I like, which is al dente. All right, my pasta. Perfect. Al dente, the way I like it. It's ready. I am going to drain this. Okay. There we go. I'm going to put it back in the pot. And we're going to head right over here. We're going to plate this. Now, I know that sometimes people will just take the pasta and dump it into the sauce and serve it from there. And you could do that if you're going to serve it right away. The only problem I find is that the pasta ends up absorbing all that sauce. So I decide to do it a little bit different. So what I do is I scoop the pasta into the bowl first. Then I take the sauce with the beans and fill it up like this. Add a little bit of parsley on top. And my other favorite thing is some shredded Parmesan cheese. And there you go. And there's pasta fagioli or pasta fazool. And I hope you try this at home. Leave me a comment and let me know how it came out. And I hope to hear from you. See you next time.